want to thank all the outlets for coming out for us for the second time today. My name is Sergeant Vincent Cole, Vincent. My last name's Cole, Cole, and I'm a Public Affairs Sergeant with the Phoenix Police Department. First, I want to acknowledge that what occurred today to Officer Moldovan is devastating to the department, to his family, to the Phoenix Police Department, to his squad, and to those who are close to him. As you can see, our detectives are still working hard to ensure the person responsible for this is brought to justice and are doing a comprehensive investigation. As you can see, this is ongoing and it's very, very early into the investigation as we speak. I do have a few updates I'd like to provide, and we will continue to release information as it becomes available. I'd like to point out that this incident highlights the inherent dangers that police officers face on a daily basis as they protect the citizens of the city of Phoenix. The suspect in this case has been identified as S.O. Williams. The first name is spelled E-S-S-A, last name Williams, W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S. He's a 24-year-old male. Once we conclude this interview, I will provide you with his booking number.
Body cam footage, and have you seen it of the incident where Officer Moldovan confronted suspect Williams?
So Officer Moldovan had body-worn camera. That footage is part of the investigation that our detectives are reviewing at this time.
Give a little bit of a play-by-play of what took place, where, I know just in the last release, but Officer Moldovan came upon the suspect behind the wall, and kind of give us a little play-by-play about what took place.
Officers were called to the area about 19th Avenue and Camelback around 2 a.m. about some erratic driving. Officers found a vehicle that was unoccupied and began a search of the area. That search led them to an apartment building where our officers encountered the suspect hiding in a covered patio. Upon that initial shortly after that initial contact with officers, that suspect opened fire and struck Officer Moldovan several times.
As far as the arrest goes, you had mentioned that no shots were fired at the suspect from police officers. How did the arrest take place? Did the suspect simply put his hands up? Did he give himself up? Did officers move in and physically arrest him? What do we know about what took place right after the shooting and the arrest?
So as additional officers arrived on the scene, the suspect was taken into custody without further incident from us. Again, the finer details of that initial encounter during the arrest are they're still working through them as part of the investigation.
Well, the officer was confronting the suspect. I assume Officer Moldovan had his gun out, giving him commands, correct?
At this time, that information is not available. I can tell you the officer was providing commands to the suspect to exit the covered patio.
Sergeant, we've heard that in this case, the officers came up on him and he tried to lie about what had just happened or play dumb and indicated that he didn't just shoot one of their colleagues. Can you confirm that and kind of tell us? Because obviously the officers didn't fire shots. A lot of people are going to wonder how that went down.
So some of the statements that were made during the arrest, again, still part of the investigation, and that information is available at this time.
But did they have to review the body camera to determine who was the suspect?
They reviewed the body camera, yes, that is correct.
He did not admit and say, I just shot your fellow officer.
That is correct.
So there was no kind of struggle between the suspect and the officer, or the suspect and the arriving officers who confronted him?
Correct. He was taken into custody without any further use of force from the Phoenix Police Department.
Was it determined that he was one of the ones driving erratically and doing the donut?
I think our detectives are still working on that to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
When Officer Moldovan was shot, was he the only one who had discovered the suspect behind that wall, who gave him commands, and then he was shot?
Not immediately around. There was officers in the vicinity, and what drew their attention back to where Officer Moldovan was the sound of gunshots. So they were close enough where they heard the gunshots and went back to that location.
And was the suspect, where was he in relation to Officer Moldovan when the backup officers arrived?
He was in the away from the patio area. He had come out from the patio area.
You know, some people, and did he have the gun at the point that the backup officers arrived? Because it sounds like this could have ended very differently if he decided, having his weapon still, to shoot at the responding officers.
So it'd be difficult to speculate on what would happen without it actually happening. I can tell you that, again, just to reiterate, he was taken into custody without further incident.
Did the suspect have any bullets left in his gun? Did he have any ammunition left?
I don't have that information in front of me.
Can you help me logistically? Are we talking about the building directly behind you with the red patio?
So it's within the apartment complex.
That apartment with the red patio in the parking lot that's just north of that building?
It's within that apartment complex. I'm not certain exactly which apartment was involved.
How long was the interaction from Officer Moldovan with the suspect? You mentioned that he did issue commands and told them to, I guess, to come forward. But can you go into the details of what is exactly the commands that he was saying, how long that interaction was before he was shot?
So the exact words that were exchanged, I don't have that information in front of me, but I can tell you that the interaction between them was within a short time frame.
Minutes?
Probably under minutes, probably seconds.
Do you know how Officer Moldovan is doing? Does he require any surgeries? Do you have any update on that?
There's no further update on his status. I can tell you he remains in critical condition.
Does he have to undergo any surgeries or can he hear anybody?
I'm not certain.
Are you able to say how many times he was shot?
It's part of the investigation, and they're still working on developing some of those details.
And was the suspect wanted on any other warrants or has the police had any other interactions with him?
So as far as I know, that detectives are still trying to hash that out as we work to learn about the suspect's background and what exactly occurred out here.
Did the suspect have the gun on him when the other officers took him into custody? I mean, did he fire on Officer Moldovan and throw his gun away? And it's just a little fuzzy as to what transpired. He shoots the officer, other officers come in to respond. I mean, does he have his gun? Did he toss his gun away? Did he not have his gun on him when the officers arrested him?
A firearm was recovered as part of the scene, and it was located in close proximity to where the incident occurred.
So that may be a reason. He was unarmed at the time of his arrest, as far as you know.
Well, again, with a firearm within close proximity, it'd be difficult to say if somebody, had the opportunity to use the weapon. I can tell you it was found within close proximity.
With Officer Moldovan, you mentioned it happened in seconds. Did you ever have the chance to recognize the danger that was facing him and pull his firearm?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Did he have the opportunity to recognize what was about to happen and pull his gun, or was he caught off guard, for lack of a better word?
So his perspective at the time of the incident would be impossible for me to speak about as I stand here.
How quickly after officers arrived, those initial, and there were two backup officers, is that correct?
There were several officers who came into the area after the incident. Prior to it occurring, there were several officers within the complex.
How quickly were they able to, and can you talk about the process of viewing an officer's body camera? How quickly does that happen? Did it happen on scene? Did it require going to a computer?
As far as logistically how that happens, so that can be plugged in, and our investigators can view that rather quickly and review the information that's on there. So to answer your first question about how quick the interaction happened, as I had mentioned before, our officers were within earshot of the incident and were able to run back once they heard the gunshots.
I was going to say, so is it safe to assume that some officers were tending to Officer Moldovan on the ground while others detained that suspect nearby and kept him until they were able to review that body camera?
So that is safe to say. The officers that took the suspect into custody, there were other officers on scene that assisted with other things going on.
The officers who arrived on the scene
So it's difficult just being a first responder in general to know exactly. We're pushed in uncertain circumstances rather often. In this instance, there weren't many people around to detain. We detained the suspect that was in close proximity.
Sergeant Cole, where is suspect Williams in the process?
He's currently being booked into the Maricopa County Jail.
And again, I know you touched on this initially, but you stress about how dangerous a police officer's job is, that it's an erratic vehicle call in the area, walking, doing a little bit of an investigation, then all of a sudden the suspect pops up behind the wall and starts opening fire on it all.
The calls that we go on with the Phoenix Police Department, you never know what kind of person, what a person's running from, what they've done in the past, why they have a reason to run. Police work is inherently dangerous, and the men and women of the Phoenix Police Department take these sort of risks on a nightly and daily basis.
Can you provide some comment regarding, the officer? He was a very young new officer, so how impactful is it for you guys to have your colleague,
Our thoughts are first and foremost with his family and his friends and those who are close. I think anytime the city loses, our community loses a first responder, I think it's felt by everybody, not just those on the police department or those who knew him. It's a difficult circumstance.
Was the situation that officers formed, were they part of the task force?
No, these were patrol officers.
And Chief Williams said this morning that Officer Moldovan was part of the K61 King Squad. Can you define what that is and what were his duties?
61 King is a patrol squad, so the city's divided into precincts and then into squad areas, and those squad areas have squads assigned to them, which are groups of officers, and those officers work different shifts. So it's a patrol officer that works third shift.
And I guess we haven't really touched on it. Any idea, I know it's early, as far as what the possible motive was here? Do you suspect that he may have been on drugs? Do you suspect that he had a warrant out when he was arrested? Did you find that? Had a past criminal history? As far as why this man may have done this?
As you can see, it's still an active scene, and our detectives are still working to try to figure that out.
What kind of vehicle was he driving, and does anything point to a potential ambush?
At this time, there's no reason for us to believe that it would be an ambush-style incident. But again, our detectives are still working to try to figure out exactly what happened. This is a very complex investigation, and there's a lot of layers.
And his vehicle, was it a truck, a car?
It was a sedan.
I mean, is there anything you can tell us about the suspect? Did he have some outstanding warrants? Had criminal history that you're aware of?
My hope is once the booking process is complete, some of those questions will be answered.
Can you talk about where you mentioned in the release that he's got family here in Arizona? I'm assuming they were all notified in the early hours of the morning. Can you say how quickly they were able to get to the hospital, and are they still there?
I don't know where the family is now, and to be honest, I don't know how long it took them to get there.
Can you tell us where he was shot, what part of his body? And how many-
At this time, that information is not available.
And then what type of weapon was the shot? Handgun?
Handgun.
What type specifically? What make and model?
I can tell you it's a handgun.
And then, assuming there's more than one car doing donuts, obviously this is an incident that changes the entire situation, but was there any follow-up investigation done or any other people arrested to find people who may have been what the initial call was for?
Part of the initial, as far as I know, there's been no other arrests made. Part of that initial call.
So you said that when he was arrested, there was other people around the area that could also be arrested, or he was the
There
only
was not.
person?
Yes.
How many people did you say?
Thank you, sir.
You said there were several people, so how many people did you say?
I'm sorry. Several people.
Did you say there were several people besides the suspect?
No.
Just him?
Yep. Thank you again for coming out, and as information becomes available, I'll provide you with updates. Thank you. Thank you.